Sakurajima Volcano has erupted in Japan, another volcano found to be on the Ring of Fire. It's been erupting for the past couple of days. If we look at volcano discovery, it was erupting last year, the beginning of January and March, but let's look at the last few days. Well, for example, June 12th, we had ash advisory, volcanic ash spewing. Also on the 13th, volcanic ash spewing, ash advisory. And then on the 15th, another volcanic ash advisory issued a report. And then you had the June 16 report that it exploded. Sakurajima Volcano Volcanic Ash Advisory exploded at 6:16, June 16. Sakurajima is right at the tip at the end, the southernmost end of Japan. The source was Himawari. Eruption details exploded June 16. And I'm just reading this now. Let's see now. Previous news of the 15th. Let's go. Basically has the time. Okay, aviation color code nil. Eruption details exploded June 15th. So there was a number of explosions and eruptions of the ash. And it's, as we said, on the Ring of Fire. Sakurajima in Japanese literally means cherry blossom island. It's an active composite volcano and a former island in Kagoshima Prefecture in Japan. The lava flows of the 1914 eruption connected it with the Osumi Peninsula. The volcanic activity is still continuing, dropping volcanic ash on the surroundings. Earlier eruptions built the White Sands Highlands in the region. The most recent eruption started May 2nd, 2017. On September 13, 2016, a team of experts from Bristol University and Sakurajima Volcano Research Center in Japan suggested that the volcano could have a major eruption within 30 years. This was just a few years ago, 2016. Sakurajima is a stratovolcano. Its summit has 3 peaks: Kita Dake, northern peak, the Nakadaki, central peak, and the Minami Daki, southern peak, which is now active, that we're seeing. Kita Daki in Sakurajima's highest peak, rising 3,665 feet above sea level. The mountain is located in part of Kagoshima Bay known as Kinkowan. The former island is part of the city of Kagoshima. Now, recent activity, Sakurajima's activity became more prominent in 1955, and the volcano has been erupting almost constantly ever since then. Thousands of small explosions occur each year, throwing ash to heights of up to a few kilometers above the mountain. The Sakurajima Volcano Observatory was set up in 1960 to monitor these eruptions. Monitoring of the volcano and predictions of large eruptions are particularly important because of its location in a densely populated area, which is the city of Kagoshima's 680,000 residents, just a few kilometers from the volcano. The city conducts regular evacuation drills, and a number of shelters have been built where people can take refuge from falling volcanic debris. In light of the dangers it presents to nearby populations, Sakurajima was designated a decade volcano in 1991, identifying it as worthy of particular study as part of the United Nations International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. Sakurajima is part of the Kirishima-Yaku National Park, and its lava flows are a major tourist attraction. The area around Sakurajima contains several hot springs resorts. One of the main agricultural products of Sakurajima is a huge basketball-sized white radish, the Sakurajima daikon radish. So, it's an active volcano, one of the decade volcanoes. What exactly is a decade volcano? Because we have about 20 of them around the world. A decades volcano, 16 volcanoes identified by the International Association of Volcanology of the Earth's interior as being worthy of particular study. One of them is Mount Rainier in the United States. Another one is Mauna Loa, right next to Kilauea. Another one is Colima in Mexico. And then we have Mount Etna and Vesuvius, and we have in Italy, and we have Santorini in Greece, and Sakurajima, of course, in Japan. So they're worthy of particular study in light of their history of large destructive eruptions and proximity to populated areas. These decade volcanoes project encourages studies and public awareness activities of these volcanoes. The volcanoes may be designated decade volcanoos if it exhibits more than one volcanic hazard. People living near the decades volcano may experience tephra falling, pyroclastic flows, lava flows, lahars, volcanic edifice instability, and lava dome collapses. Well, that sounds very much like, not pyroclastic, but the lava flows and the dome collapsing is definitely Kilauea that we've seen recently. So these decade volcanoes may threaten tens of thousands of people in the area. And these volcanoes selected are the Kamchatka in Russia, the Avachinsky, that one, Colima in Mexico, Galeras in Colombia, Mauna Loa, Hawaii, United States, Mount Etna, Sicily, Italy, Mount Merapi in Java, Indonesia, Mount Rainier, Washington, United States, Mount Vesuvius in Italy, Mount Unzen in Japan, Sakurajima in Japan, Santa Maria in Guatemala, Santorini in the Aegean Sea in Greece, and Teide, Canary Islands in Spain, Tal Volcano in the Philippines, and Ulawan in Papua New Guinea. And if we go to the timeline of volcanism on Earth, well, we see that we have a tremendous amount of huge volcanoes that have given volcanic winters, depending on the magnitude of the eruption. Before the Heliocene epoch, the criteria are less strict because of the scarce data availability. Paleogene period are listed, and especially those related to the Yellowstone hotspot and the Santorini caldera in Greece. The Santorini, of course, is not as big as the Yellowstone was, 640,000 BC. That was a VE8 eruption. Santorini was a VE6, even though it looks like it was about 1/10 of the size. Krakatoa was again VEI7. So what I'm worried about, and what we notice, is that we have a number of erupting volcanoes around the Ring of Fire. We had the two Guatemala volcanoes right after the beginning of the Kilauea eruption, and now we have, of course, this explosion of the Sakurajima volcano in Japan. And from what they say, it has blocked out the sun. a strong eruption took place. The eruption sent smoke thousands of meters into the air, blocking out the sun. This is what we see also, what has happened in the beginning of the 20th century in Alaska. And in one of those nearby cities there, it had blocked out the sun for 2 days. So this is quite a tremendous amount of ash. And one of my previous videos, if you'll see, I'll leave the link to the playlist so that you can search for it. It's very nice. It's a documentary by the USGS because of the fact that the geologists went immediately in after the ash accumulation. And you'll see a man standing at the bottom of the cut cliff. They cut it so that they can measure the layers of ash because it was a volcano that was erupting for 60 hours ongoing. So that's what it was, a quick deposit. 60 hours is not that long. It's about 3 days. And the man was like an ant at the bottom of it. It was like the height of a 10-story building. That's the amount of ash that was accumulated from the 60 hours of eruption from that Alaska volcano. And if you look at him, he had his little geologist pick, that little hammer that they have, that they pick at the rocks and things. And the sediments were basically very loose soil and rocks, and they looked very fine, but they were in layers of various colors. And if you were to see this at the side of a road, you would think that it was sedimentary rock perhaps, but very loose. And nobody would really think that it was ash flow. And that's what it was. And it was a tremendous height of ash fall in 60 hours. It's amazing. It's just unbelievable how the face of the earth could change in 60 hours with 30 to 50 meters of ash flow, of ash fall. Amazing. Anyway, I'll leave a link below for you for this. And as we said, Sakurajima is one of the very active volcanoes, and they did predict 2 years ago that it would have a major eruption within the next 30 years. So we'll